your main event. Introducing the hosts of Wrestling with Freddie, Jeff Dye, and Freddie Prinze Jr.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Wrestling with Friends. Happy New Year to all of you. I hope you enjoyed the episodes while we were gone. I know I got a couple comments on my little miniature painting that I do on Instagram. Don't invade those with non-miniature painting comments, by the way. A couple people were pissed that we had like a repeat episode in there, but don't worry. We're back. We're back. We're back. You don't have to get mad. Jeff, how are you and how was your holiday?
I am feeling great. All my holidays were awesome.
How many holidays did you get to have?
Well, no, here's the thing. I think that some people are weird about. Someone in 1995 used to say, Happy Holidays, and that was normal. Now, if you say Happy Holidays, people go, it's Christmas, Merry Christmas. I don't do this woke stuff. Here's the thing. When people say Happy Holidays, they mean because you're getting like a holiday break. There's Christmas Eve, Christmas, Hanukkah probably, New Year's Eve. You have New Year's Day. Those are all holidays. It's a collection of holidays. So that's why people say Happy Holidays. Not because
I agree with Jeff.
Yeah. So anyways, my holidays were great. All of them.
We can talk, Chris. My Christmas was badass, dude.
What'd you do?
We went to Hawaii,
nice.
And it's where we go pretty much every year. And we have some friends that live out there that are so close, they're family, and we got to spend it with them, and we got to spend New Year's with them and see cool fireworks, go diving, awesome. And some dolphins rolled up on us while we were diving, and we're just like swimming. My wife posted video of it on her Instagram. You guys can check it out. I don't post that soft shit on my Instagram, just hard-ass minis and badass cars.
Strength and honor, dude.
But strength and honor. And these dolphins came up and hung out with us. And this octopus was hanging out with us. And what else, man? We saw huge turtles, whales. It was wild, man. I went on like a 3-mile canoe trip with my man Keanu.
Oh, my gosh.
I almost tapped out, bro, because the wind was in our face on the way out. Dude, it was like, if he wasn't doing the Hawaii, come on, brother, you got it, man. If he wasn't motivating me, it would have been a full tap out. But we survived that. And the way back was awesome. We surfed some waves on the way in. And it's just a real spiritual place, man. I got a real connection to that place. I've been going there 25 years now in a row.
Oh, my gosh.
With me and the wife. And even a couple years before my wife was when I first started going out there. And I lived there with my mom when I was a baby. She worked in a bunch of restaurants, was kind of like a gypsy and couldn't really commit to any place. So she would just sign like a 6-month contract or a year contract, get your restaurant back off the ground, or help set a menu at a hotel restaurant, and then just straight bounce with her baby. That was me. We were in Hawaii, and so she always said, I think you loved it because that was like the first time you ever saw the beach was when we were in Hawaii. And I have like a real strong connection to that place. I love the way they treat their elderly. I love the way they raise their children. I love the way they take care of their families and help one another. It's very old school. It's like New Mexico, where I grew up in New Mexico. Outside of Albuquerque and like Santa Fe and Placitas, and certainly like nearby the reservations and stuff like that. Like people looked out for one another, and their grandparents would live with them when they got too old. And it wasn't like put them in a home and all this, shit. So I like that old school way more. So I just connect there. And one day when I want to get big, fat, and hairy, I'll retire out there, and life will be sweet.
I would love to retire there.
Where were you? Where were you for the holiday?
Well, for the holidays, I did a bunch of local shows around town. Went to the Comedy Magic Club, the Laugh Factory, did a bunch of local shows. And then I performed in Fort Wayne, Indiana for the weekend before Christmas. Went to Mar-a-Lago to perform in Florida for one night. Then that was for the 30th. And then on the 31st, I went to Portland, Oregon and performed 2 New Year's Eve shows. Well, I was supposed to do 2, and I only did 1 New Year's Eve show because someone got shot with a gun in Portland, Oregon.
Merry friggin' Christmas.
Yeah, that was not ideal.
You didn't shoot him, did you?
No, they're just some drunk people that drank too much and got into a squabble with a different couple.
Jesus Christ.
And some bad things happened, and then one of the couples just said, let's end this, and shot him in the stomach. Yeah.
Holy shit, bro.
It was
got
very
real on the
Red Dead
podcast.
Redemption.
Oh my God, bro. That's why I don't mean to laugh. That's horrible. I just laugh when I get uncomfortable. Just so
Well,
you
we
guys
didn't know him, Freddie. It was fun. That's what happens. This is what happens. You drink too much. You got to be responsible with your drinking and responsible with your guns.
Yeah, or you're throwing knives if you have, or throwing stars like back in the 80s. You got to be responsible with that
responsible
stuff.
with those.
My buddy got one stuck right in his arm because Chris Sandoval chucked it at him and it right in the friggin' arm. Real throwing star. Got his ass. Sorry, Chris, for naming you.
That sounds like it would
Chris
suck.
was a good guy. He wasn't a jerk. That story makes him sound awful. He was a really nice guy, by the way. We were just playing ninjas. All right. Well, we both had great holidays, and wrestling has changed forever while we were gone, Jeff. It's now streaming on everywhere you can stream, from Max all the way over to Netflix. Well, those are really the only two places, so maybe not everywhere. But this show records on Mondays and airs on Wednesdays. So Monday Night Raw will have already debuted by the time y'all hear this, whenever you like to listen. And Dynamite has already aired on Max. And everybody loved the Max stream. Everything looked super clean. People were loving it. And then it cut to commercial, and people were fucking pissed because there's no picture-in-picture on Max. So this was, I think they'll be able to address this and address it fairly quickly because there's existing models out there already that they can just license the rights to and then put it in theirs if they don't have it already. But maybe they don't because they didn't anticipate that. But they can do that, and they're a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate, so they should do that. That's what services the fans. But I know that was the one thing people had beef with, but everybody liked the matches. Everybody likes the Continental Classic. Even though there's no story, it's a tournament. There doesn't have to be one. And everyone loves Okada and Will Ospreay. Did you get to see the Max stream, or did you still watch it on TNT, or did you watch it on the TNT app? What did you think?
I still watched it on TNT. Yeah, I didn't do the Max thing, but I'm going to. That's a lot easier for me. I just didn't even. I'm so out of the loop on that kind of thing that I didn't watch it. But you say that it's not all officially over on streaming yet. But this is what they do. They test a thing. And then it's going to be, before you know it, every wrestling thing will be on streaming. This is the proof of concept. You might go, Raw's on Netflix. Yeah, wait. Everything's going to be on there. You'll see.
Soon there won't be channels. Everything will be streaming. The whole cyberpunk philosophy is like, they weren't just science fiction writers. They were futurists projecting the future based on the world they were living in at that time in the 60s and 70s. Like, all this shit is coming true. From Philip K. Dick to Asimov, like everything they said was going to happen is happening. And if you didn't read sci-fi, you're like, whatever, nerd. But if you read it, you'll be like, holy shit, that's kind of tripped out. So anyway, we will talk. What are we going to talk for? Well, we should talk. The one question that you had, which I thought was really smart before the show started, was, if I miss the live show, is it like football? And am I not going to be able to see it again? And our producer, Alex, who's the friggin' man and knows everything about professional wrestling, inside and out. He's well-educated, well-versed, and he's just a fan, and he's a badass Marine, too. He had the answer to the question, as he always does. And the answer is yes. You can replay right away. You can even rewind while you're watching live. That's how much love they're going to give you. By the way, I was going to go to the show tonight, but WWE made it so difficult with their ticket situation. Not to be dicks, just the process of it was so incredibly difficult that our tickets ended up getting all spread out. We were a large group, not a large group. We were a group of 8, 4 adults, 4 kids. And we're not going to go now because everybody was sitting in like different spots and nobody was going to be.
Why would they do that?
It was more like a technical thing, like the people we were dealing, not the people we were dealing with, the site we were dealing with wasn't really allowing it. Netflix tried to come in at the last minute and help us out, but they couldn't offer us enough tickets together as a group that late in the game. So it was like lower bowl, ringside, up here, over there. And this was a group of kids that want to, see the matches together. And my wife was going to come for the first time. She was going to come to a WWE show. So I was disappointed on that. Not mad, just disappointed. I wish it would have worked out better. You can take that as criticism or say whatever, we're not changing our ways. But UFC makes it way easier. And you guys are owned by the same people. Like UFC, I've gone 12 deep and they could not be more helpful, and it was like perfect. Everything was there. And I'm not talking about, I want free tickets. I'm just talking about seats together. That's all I'm talking about. I'll pay for tickets. I don't care. But UFC does it at such a high level. And WWE, since the merger basically, since that WrestleMania that you and I went to together, has made it incredibly difficult and just weird and unnecessarily hard to do the VIP ticket experience. Jeff is coughing and dying on the podcast because he wanted to adopt a dog, but we think he was allergic to the dog. He's a really nice guy, and I like when people adopt pooches. You don't have to if you want to buy one. Don't worry. I won't ever get mad at you. I don't judge. I just love animals. But Jeff was trying to adopt one, and I think he's slowly realizing that this isn't going to be the guy for you.
Trying to save this little pooch, but he's killing me. So it's between me and him,
We'll get you a hypoallergenic one, man.
I gotta live.
Those doggies need homes too. So anyway, it's going to be on Netflix. You guys will have already watched it. Hit us up in the comment sections on our socials and let us know what you think, because that kind of helps us shape our opinions on how you guys are receiving the product and not just telling you guys what we think about shit. So I can't tell you how Raw was because I don't know, but I can tell you how the Raw before this was. Jeff, you're either about to sneeze or you want to say something.
Yeah, I was going to say, rest in peace to the WWE Network. It's officially gone. I really enjoy the WWE Network because I sometimes will, if I order takeout or if I'm like just chilling at my house, I'll put on like an old Raw, from like when, back when I was a teenager and stuff like that. And so it's officially gone. You can't log in. You can try. It says go over to the other thing. So anyways, rest in peace to the WWE Network. That's why I was so concerned with, is Netflix going to let me rewatch things? Because sometimes I'll just put one on, and I would like to hope that the archived episodes will live on there, but we'll see.
Yeah, if I can't watch Shelton Benjamin versus Shawn Michaels on Monday Night Raw at least once every 3 years, that would feel kind of weird.
There's good stuff. Weird. Wrestling's better than it's ever been, but it's also, there's other stuff from back then that I liked too that's better than now. So I don't know. I like to live in all of it, but we'll see what happens with Netflix. They're advertising it like crazy. So hopefully that means they're putting all their best efforts into it.
All right, dude. CM Punk and Seth Rollins finally had the promo that they should have had when they first met. And maybe this was intentional, but they finally cut each other to pieces. From what I've heard, a lot of people think CM Punk won. I thought it was 50-50 all the way down the line. Both guys hit each other with pseudo-real stuff. It's all, agreed upon and scripted out to a certain degree. But I thought this was the best they've done since their story started, which is good because it's the payoff one, which is why I try to give latitude and go, maybe they did it on purpose. But these guys could have built this up earlier on with promos that I just didn't think were quite at this level. These were both 10s. Like, it was so good. And it didn't have to get physical, because the words were just like, let me cut you with this and cut you with that, and how's your wife, and she took off, and she quit. Like he came at Seth Rollins and said stuff that got the crowd going. He got the CM Punk chant going multiple times in a smart, organic way. Seth Rollins came out in his white suit and he hit him with what was more like, you hurt me, you hurt us, and you never said sorry for it, so fuck you. That's where Seth Rollins' motivation is. He hasn't said those words, but that's where he's coming from. And that's why he refers to him leaving the audience and all that. He can't say you hurt me because then he comes off weak, but that's a more colorful, manly way to say it. I'm just telling you guys what he means. But they both had a great one. You guys will have already seen the match by now, so it sucks like getting to talk about it and not knowing before you. But I'm really excited to see in this match. I said this before with the Drew thing. I thought Drew should have won that feud. And it gives CM Punk a harder road to climb. Like, am I the one, or am I Jimmy Connors in the 80s at Wimbledon and I'm just making it to the quarterfinals? No, fuck that. I'm making it all the way to WrestleMania. Let me climb that mountain. I think that would have been the better story. So I hope once again the right person wins, and I believe that should be Seth Rollins. But we won't know yet, Seth. did you like this segment as much as me, and are you hyped for it, or do you not give two shits about the well-dressed Seth Rollins, I don't give a shit CM Punk?
I love it. I love what they're doing. I'm going to be excited to watch it. I'm a little mad at myself. When will I stop believing everything? I just can't. I'm 41 years old. I'm still going, I think Seth really hates CM Punk. I believed that until recently, obviously, because, back in the day, there was they interviewed Seth Rollins when he was over at AEW about what was going on with CM Punk. And CM Punk's like, that guy's a cancer. He's blah, blah, blah. And I don't believe they were leading up to any big matchup then. They didn't even know if CM Punk would ever come back to WWE. So I remember thinking, he really hates him. He really hates him. And so now this kind of reveals that they don't really hate each other. There's a mutual respect there. So it was a little disappointing to go, I'm an idiot. I fell for it again. There's nothing is real in wrestling, but I am excited for it, and I think it's going to be great. They're both the superstars. I feel like Seth Rollins might even be the CM Punk of what CM Punk used to be in wrestling. I think that's a fair comparison, but I'm very, very excited about it. And I loved what they did. I love bringing the wives into the talk. That's very good for both of them too, because both of them have wrestler wives. So I just loved it. I think it's going to be great. I'm very excited to watch.
It finally happened, Jeff. You've been sitting here going, God damn it, when? Just do it already. What the hell? Why is it taking so long? Well, she did it. She heard you. She got the message, and she finally cashed in. And Tiffany Stratton is the new women's champion. She cashed in on Nia Jax and had to wait for the slow-ass ref to get in the ring. Start the damn match. He gets in the ring. She does her, they call it the prettiest of moonsaults. A lot of moonsaults in the WWE. And she nailed it perfect. And Nia Jax went down. 1, 2, 3, and Tiffany Stratton, who they have strapped a rocket ship to, is now the women's champion and going to have an opportunity to be one of the two female faces of the brand while Becky and Charlotte are still out. A lot of people are speculating Charlotte's about to come back and she'll be Tiffany's first sort of real challenge. Becky could come back at any moment, but I think Becky would be on Monday Night Raw and not on Friday Night SmackDown. So are you happy to see it? I don't know what's going to happen. I think it's very early with Tiffany Stratton. I think she's very green. I don't know if that character in its current form is going to be able to carry that much weight. It was something that she came up with in NXT that I thought got her to the next level, but we haven't really seen an evolution of that yet. If she's ready, you're going to see growth really, really fast because she is going to have a lot to say in promos. And you'll see it develop like you saw it in Solo Sikoa. Like it happened fast, like not on a 3 month to 3 month basis. You almost saw it on a week to week basis. And if she's not ready, you'll see that too. But they're giving her a huge opportunity to be the face of this franchise. She's recently signed with Paradigm, which is a high level agency out here in Hollywood. Like they have big plans for her. So we shall see. But were you happy to finally see the damn Money in the Bank briefcase get cashed in instead of just being a prop to hit people in the face with?
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if fans are going to forget how long that they drew that out. Like, are fans going to forgive how tedious it was? They should just finally check it. But at least it was good to see a Money in the Bank check-in or cash-in and then them winning. That was pretty cool. I liked that. There was no weird shenanigans. There was no, like, close call, doesn't get it, to make that whole lead-up a waste. But I love that she's the new champ. I'm actually really skeptical of her character and of her. I'm wondering if it's going to work. I heard rumors. I don't know if you heard this. They're going to give her a pink belt. That they might give her an actual.
All right,
Tiffany
MJF did a Burberry belt.
Yeah, like a pink one. So I guess that'd be cool to see, kind of.
I'm not a pink guy. I don't like the color pink. I never. It
matches her though.
Yeah, it'll match her, but I'm not going to be like, "Ooh, look at that pink belt."
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that. If it was like blood red and
that'd
like
cool.
could look kind of stained, I'd like the one Jack Perry did, but leather. I'd be like, "Ooh, look at that sexy belt." But
worst belt ever was the Fiend's. Remember when they put the Fiend had like a Fiend belt?
Yo, I hated the spinner belt. I hated the Fiend belt. I hated the way the Divas belt looked.
Oh, the Divas belt was terrible.
those are like my 3 worst belts ever. My favorite, Winged Eagle, big gold belt. Those are my 2 favorites. But my 3 least ones are those 3 for sure. For sure.
So here's the thing. Tiffany Stratton, I'm open to be persuaded on her.
Yeah, hell yeah. Everyone deserves a shot.
But I'm reasonably skeptical, and I'm glad she beat Nia Jax. So that shows they believe in her and all that. And so I'm open to it.
They're going to put her hopefully in an environment that's conducive to success. That was really hard for me to say, so I'd like a round of applause. So hopefully she's able to execute. You know, I feel they push people way too fast, and their sink or swim mentality is not always the right way to do things, but that's the way they've done it since forever, and they're not going to change. So there's nothing I can say to get what I want. But yeah, so hopefully she gets the right opportunity and it kicks ass. Let's move on, sir, to the bloodline, which is now been injected with adrenaline because of Paul Heyman, who cut just an awesome promo. And I know we should talk about Cody Rhodes and the championship with Kevin Owens, and we will if we have time, but that's not the most exciting. Those aren't the most exciting things going on in wrestling right now, because I think everybody knows that Cody's going to have the belt till WrestleMania, so he's going to beat Kevin at the Royal Rumble, and it'll be, you know, who's next, who's going to get Money in the Bank, who are they going to cash in on, who's his opponent, is it going to be Roman again? So I think that's more the direction of that. So there, we covered it. But the bloodline is now Solo Sikoa. Solo interrupted Paul Heyman's awesome promo, and it was awesome. And he came out with energy. He was like, he had so much energy. And to see that kind of range from where he was totally stressed out and hadn't slept and just looked disheveled all the time when he was with Solo under duress. He was like indentured servitude to Solo. And just his promos were weak and frail and fragile. And he's asking, please help me. Like, he's asking for help, all this stuff, to where he is now, where he's like, and like me, and just yelling in that mic and cutting these amazing, I'm the greatest manager of all time promos. He gets interrupted by Solo, and you see Solo, who he's become from where he started. I don't know if anyone's gotten better quicker. I'm not saying he's better than the best. I'm not saying he's a top dude on the mic. I'm just saying from where he started to where he is now in that short amount of time, he's developed so much on the friggin' microphone. I'm not a wrestler and I don't book matches, so I can't critique his wrestling. I know it looks like he knocks the shit out of people, and I think that looks cool. But his mic work is so much better, and he's getting so good, and he's trying to go toe-to-toe with Paul Heyman, and Heyman's selling for him emotionally and being scared when he's like, yeah, if he wins, then he gets the Ula Fala. But when I win, and I will win, he's like even listening to the crowd because they're like, no, you're not going to win. And he's like, no, I will win. Then I get the Ula Fala. You put it around my neck, and you become my wise man forever. And Paul Heyman just shook and is like, oh, shit. And Solo hands him the microphone, and Paul Heyman just drops it and just gets the fuck out the ring because he's too scared of Solo Sikoa. And it's such a good shot in the arm for this storyline. It's why it's still the best storyline in all of wrestling, regardless of whether it's AEW, WWE, or TNA. It's so good. They have so many high-level people barking on the microphone. They bring in these like guest stars once in a while, the Sami Zayns of the world, even the CM Punk there for one quick second. But it always seems to work. I don't even feel like they've made a misstep this whole time, at least not one I can think of. And if there is one, everything else was so good, I forgot about it. But I love this Paul Heyman segment, and you love Paul Heyman, so he could say whatever, and you'd be like, "You fucking rule, bro."
Well, he does. I like him because everything he says is great. He's the best mic work guy ever. I put him above Stone Cold. I put him above The Rock, and what I'm hoping is that he teams up with The Rock. How great would that be?
The Rock and Paul Heyman. Oh my God! Rock. No one would ever be able to hang with them on the mic ever.
It'd be amazing.
Ever.
I don't know why they would do that because both of them are so good at mic work. It seems
would be awesome.
Whatever, But it would be like taking two of your best stars and putting them as a tag team. It's like the tag team of mic work. So I would love to see it. I love Paul Heyman. I think everything he does is gold. So I'm very, 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 very excited for what they're doing. Also, I've always liked Solo Sikoa. Solo Sikoa.
I love when you call him Sequoia, though, because he's about as big as one.
He's huge. Well, I like the way they rolled him out. You know, I don't feel like with the internet nowadays and with shows like ours and shows like other people's, you know, we've kind of already know when a wrestler's coming. Oh, Sasha Banks is coming. You know, she's going to go over there. Where's she going to sign? We have all this like behind the scenes kind of stuff.
Sure.
We have all these things like Jade Cargill's going to be there, but she's at the wrestling center, you know, and then but they're going to roll her. And then Ronda Rousey's always talking about how, well, I needed more training. I wasn't ready yet, blah, blah, blah. Whereas with Solo, we just saw this dude in the ring, and he's probably, what we didn't see was those reps he was taking, all the matches, all the bumps he was taking, all the ways he's getting better. And then on Monday night, we would just see him in the ring, and he'd occasionally give someone the Samoan spike. Like, it was a really smart way to roll him out, in my opinion. And so now we're getting to see how talented this guy is. He's probably wrestled his whole life, but now he was like really training and grinding like in these last few years. I just love him.
Who do you think looks more intimidating with their arms crossed, me or Solo Sikoa?
All right, give us your best one here. Let me see.
All right, here we go.
You. Yeah, definitely.
Come on, Solo. Step your game up.
You whack, Solo. You wouldn't beat us, dude. This is the real tag team.
You know, yeah, I think you might get our ass. Moving on to AEW. As we said at the top of the show, Dynamite and Collision are now on Max. If you don't have that app, get it. Prepare to cut all your cords, because soon there will be no TV and everything will just be corporate streaming. But then one day, a small terrestrial television station will re-debut 15 years from the time they're all gone, and it'll be this rebel outlaw station that'll have shows like, what was that Canadian guy, Tom something, had that talk show back in the day in the late 80s or 90s. It'll be shows like that. It'll be shows like, what is that, Morton Downey Jr. show, loudmouth guys like that. And all these shows, and it'll start to make a comeback, and then they'll have their first scripted show, and people go, whoa, scripted TV doesn't suck. This is actually kind of cool. And I don't have to watch all these shows in one night. I can wait from week to week. No, that'll never happen. Anyway, back to streaming. AEW, they're wrapping up their tournament. I'm kind of grateful for it. I know you get awesome matches, and that's the reason that we watch AEW is more for the matches. But they can do good stories. I've seen them do good stories, and I want them to do more good stories. So I'm kind of glad the tournament is over, and we can get back. We can kind of dive back into that, because they got a lot of guys back. Edge is back, Adam Copeland is back. Didn't mean to call you Edge, broski. Broken ankle and all, still came back, and he's ready to kick ass, and he's ready to fight John friggin' Moxley. I'll be honest with you, I don't want to see MJF versus Moxley again. I saw that. He used the brass knucks from William Regal. Pow, boom, got the championship. I don't want to see him as a babyface and Moxley as the heel. I want to see, I almost called him Edge again. I want to see Cope. That's what they're going to call him now. I want to see Cope get the title, and I want to see MJF versus Adam friggin' Copeland, because that match has never happened. It would be a first time ever, and it would be for the AEW championship, and those two dudes on the mic would be money. It would be the old lion that MJF could just talk shit to about how old and busted he is and how he's the new hotness, and you have to just deal with all that, and Edge would be like, look, kid, you don't know what I got for you, but it's coming in, and it would be great, and I would love it. So that's what I hope happens. Although, as reality kind of settles in on my promo right there, John Moxley is probably not going to lose this for a long time. So I don't know if even Copeland can get him. But that's what I'd like to see.
With MJF's wrestling knowledge and with MJF's mic work, could you imagine the promo he would drop on Cope? Like on Adam Copeland, Edge? Oh my gosh. It would be the best.
No, dude, those two going in on each other, because Copeland is good at being reactionary. Like right. His whole, we always like him more when he's reactionary. Even as a heel, someone would talk shit to him, like about all the relationship stuff and stuff like that, because they would do real life and promos, and he would react huge, like, "Oh, how could you say, oh, you son of a bitch, I'll get you later, you son of a bitch." Like, that was more him. And MJF is more an active guy. He starts the argument, whether he's the babyface or the heel. He starts the shit all the time. He likes to stir up the pot, and Copeland has to taste it. And that's why I think the two of them would go so well together, man, because their approach to promo work is so different, but so complementary, because it's like, yeah, dude, throw your best shit at me and I'll take it, like Adam Sandler and Happy Gilmore when he's in the batting cage and he's like, "Yeah, I love it, give me more." Like, that's who those two guys are. One is the ocean and the other's a sponge, and you can just soak up everything. And then at the end of the promo, we just squeeze you and see what comes out. And what comes out is a sick championship match. So I really want to see that, man. And I hope that's the direction they go. And it could happen, but it's not going to.
I'd love it.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Oh, and this is more business, I guess, than it is like what's going on. But I like talking about this stuff too. AEW did Hammerstein, and it was way better than when they do the big arenas. It felt full because it's an arena they can pack. The wrestlers had really good energy in there. Like they liked the crowd. They didn't miss, it didn't feel like anyone missed a big arena. It didn't feel like anyone was missing 17,000. It felt more like, yo, thank you for this 6,000 or whatever the number was. I don't know what it was, 5,000, whatever it was. I don't care. But it felt intimate. It felt cool. I went to a Prince concert one night at this little 1,200 seat club, and it was like the coolest concert I ever went to. He only played 3 songs, which was kind of a dick move, but the opening
that does suck.
The opening act was pretty good.
3 songs.
3 songs and bounced, and then Shalimar played. But Shalimar was cool. But anyway,
that sucks.
It did, dude. People were pissed. They wanted their money back for sure. I was drunk, so I didn't care. So anyway, it felt cool. The vibe was right. I'd like to see them do more smaller theaters and ballrooms or whatever you call them, smaller arenas. It's not a hollow space. It's actually full of people, full of flesh. It's a sea of flesh that you must circumnavigate. And I really liked it. And I hope people continue to dig it, because they can sell out their pay-per-views, but they can't sell out their TV shows for whatever reason. I think that reason is because of the lack of stories that people want to see on a week-to-week basis. But I could be totally wrong, because that may not connect from a city-to-city, arena-to-arena thing. That may be more a television product, which is what I'm more accustomed to. But until they're able to fill up these arenas on their Dynamites and whatever their next show is going to be, since they got rid of Rampage, I'd like to see them continue this model, because it seems to be working, and eventually the demand will outgrow the places you're going to, and you won't be able to sell enough, you will be able to sell so many seats that you can't sell anymore, and you need to, and then you can go up, but you don't need to start so big. I get why they did it, because you wanted to compete with WWE, but now is like, it's 5 years in, almost 6 years in. Let's find ourselves, let's find who we are, and once we do, let's establish that and grow from there. That's my philosophy, Jeff.
I also, this will be a weird stand-up comedy take on this, but it's like, this is my comedy club brain talking. Bigger isn't necessarily better. I get that you're a business. I get that Vince's ego and Tony Khan's ego, they want to be able to brag. Oh, we had 9 million people in the room. We don't care. I don't care. I want to watch good wrestling. I want to watch great stories. I don't care what the name of the arena is and how many seats were sold. Just put good wrestling out there. And the same with like a comedy show, like Bert Kreischer or Andrew Schultz. These guys are like, I sold out Madison Square Garden. It's like, yeah, I don't really give a shit. What I want to see is like a good show. I want to see good comedy. Sometimes a small comedy club venue, the crowd is like, oh man, I got to be right there, the energy in the room. And if storytelling is part of energy, it's part of like a thing, like anything will work that should cater to the story. I don't care if it's a giant a stadium or a tiny little thing like they do at like NXT or any of those small things. If the product's good and the wrestling's good, that's all that should matter, in my opinion.
I couldn't agree with you more, man. Some of the greatest stand-up shows I've ever seen were at Jamie's. I don't know if Jamie still runs it, but I think his name was Jamie Medina's Laugh Factory. Masada, that's his last name. Yeah. Dude, did you know, this is a weird side quest, he was my dad's like homie back in the 70s. And I think actually like worked for him a little bit, like not as an assistant.
I can't imagine them hanging out.
No, dude, they totally did. They were friends. And this was before he owned the Laugh Factory. And he was like, you know, just coming up in whatever business he was going to come up
That's
in. But
amazing.
they were friends all the way back then. But some of the best comedy shows I've ever seen were at that club. And that club is not a giant theater. It does not hold thousands and thousands of people.
No.
There were maybe, 120 asses in seats. And I've seen some of the best shows that I've ever seen in my life there. And shows that I remember to this day, jokes that I remember to this day, reactions from the crowd that I remember to this day. Yeah. And it's all from an intimate location.
And what would you rather? Would you rather brag that you were at a wrestling show that had a few hundred people? You were like, I saw that. I was there. Yeah. Or if you're like, I was at that WrestleMania. You're like, everyone was at that WrestleMania. they sold 90 million seats. So I just think it is better. And go ahead, if you want to sell out your giant Rome-like arenas, that's okay too. But why do I care? I should care about the actual wrestling and the actual story. That's what's important.
You know who cares about actual stories? One of our listeners, SoCal King 32, and he gave us a review, Jeff. And first of all, it's 5 stars. So thanks for that love, man. We appreciate that. And that, for real, man, that helps the show. It helps the show grow. It helps with algorithms. I don't know what that part means, but that's what they tell me. And here's what he wrote. I should have worn the glasses, Jeff. Damn it. If there was a Paul Heyman biopic, who would? Oh, Paul Giamatti. Well, let me finish reading. Who would play him in the movie? I think it could be Paul Giamatti. What say you guys, dude? SoCal King, we're on the same page. As soon as I read the first part of your message, man, it was one guy popped in my head. Paul Giamatti, bro. Like, who would be better than that? Nobody, unless you put like Steve Buscemi in a fat suit. Or you can't say fat suit anymore. A heavy suit. Heavy. George Carlin said this, and I defend him. Aircraft carriers are heavy. People are fat. And so I'm sticking with the fat suit, and I rebuke my apology.
Yeah, there's also nothing wrong with fat. Even fat people are embracing the term. They go, I'm a fat-bodied person. So it's
Dude, I don't care if you're skinny or fat, but I'm going to call you skinny, and I'll be like, hey,
it's not a judgment. It's an observation.
Thank you. So SoCal King, thank you for that. Paul Giamatti would be amazing. Jeff, you can't outcast that. You can't think of someone better than Paul Giamatti. No freaking way.
Philip Seymour Hoffman would have been great.
Oh, dude, you just did it.
But he's passed away.
I know, but he would have just crushed that.
Paul Giamatti is so talented that I think he could play anyone in a biopic.
Paul Giamatti's pretty great, dude. Man, what a pull with Philip Seymour Hoffman.
He'd have been great.
Remember him as the bad guy in the Mission Impossible movies? I know they're not the best movies, but he was like, when he was like, I'm going to hurt you. I'm going to hurt your family. Like, I'm sitting there like, dude, what the hell? This like performance is so much better than what this movie deserves. But that's what makes those movies great. They cast them great.
Sometimes when people think of biopics, they think about the way the actor looks, which is something you should definitely do.
For sure.
But there's a movie called Elvis and Nixon. Elvis is played by Michael Shannon. Michael Shannon looks nothing like Elvis.
I haven't seen
But
that.
he is so talented that after the first like 5-10 minutes of the movie, you're like, that's Elvis. I'm watching Elvis. Like,
there's some magical guys out there that can really pull that kind of stuff off, man. Shannon's for sure one of them. I mean, he played Zod in friggin' Superman,
dude,
and you're sitting there like, dude, you're not going to be. Oh yeah, you are. Yeah, that's pretty great. That guy's money.
Yeah, it's
but
crazy.
Philip Seymour Hoffman was one of my favorite actors ever. He beat me out on a movie that when I was like 22 years old. That was the best audition of my life, and I almost booked it. And the director legit called me. This was before cell phones. Got my number, called the house, and said, he said, I'm so sorry to do this to you. Yours was my favorite audition. However,
nice.
I think we have an opportunity to work with Philip Seymour Hoffman. And Philip Seymour Hoffman was just getting hot. And I was like, I had just seen him in like Boogie Nights and was like, shit, I'm not as good as him. Like in my head, I didn't say that out loud, but I was like, God damn it! I worked so hard on like my next 10 auditions. But you did good,
and they actually
man. I worked so hard after that to get better, and then like my next 10 auditions, every time I went in, I was so psyched out by Philip Seymour Hoffman that I sucked in all those auditions and didn't.
You're like, are you guys seeing anyone else for this role? And they're like, what do you mean? Like any Philip Seymour Hoffman?
Philip
types?
Seymour somethings, anything in that world? Philip anything? No? Okay, then I'd like to read. But yeah, that one hurt. Your review, SoCal King, did not. You guys stay tuned for Unsanctioned Thursdays, where we'll get into everything and more. We might not even talk wrestling. I might give you guys an update. I might not. We'll see how I feel. Yeah, it's not good. So I guess I'll talk about it. Anyway, stay tuned till then. Peace.
This has been a production of iHeart's My Cultura Podcast Network. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.